Hey everybody, this is Charles Calhoun, aka the Shade Tree Pro, here at the beautiful Grand Vista Marriott in Orlando, Florida, where I own and operate my teaching business under the Shade Tree. Now, I've got a treat for the ladies, and something that I want the ladies to understand, and this is for definitely particular for you young females out there, as far as, trying to make it on the tour, trying to get on, your pro, and it's all about chipping and pitching. And one of the biggest things that when a lot of men are teaching women, and I don't know if they even take this in consideration sometime, but it is something that I've studied, is this, is that it is very, very important to understand the anatomy of a female when you're teaching them how to chip. And one of the biggest reasons why is the turning of the body. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Now, one thing about women have, their pelvis is different from men. Their pelvis is a little bit wider as well, and men's are more narrow. But also the women's shoulders are a little bit more narrow in comparison to men, which are a little bit wider. So it makes a little bit of difference in the rotational part of things. Now, because women's hips are wider, one of the things that really get a lot of women in trouble, and I see this with a lot of young female pros, is that when they go and then when they're teaching people, like to chip or pitch to turn your body, because their hips are a little bit wider, they find themselves really turning a little bit more than what they need to. And a lot of women that I've seen and I've watched, a lot of them have a tendency to decelerate, the far as the body, because they feel like they're turning too much and they'll hit it too far or something of that nature. And there is really a simple way, especially for women, when it comes to chipping and pitching the golf ball. And here's how I will show you all as women. Y'all know that the only thing that moves the golf club is the shoulder girdle. There's no question about that. You all heard me talk about, in the movement of the body, 69 boys dip, baby dip. Well, ladies, because you have the more narrow shoulders, you're going to be able to keep the arms, moving together a little bit better. Some ladies, I'm not going to really give this one away, but some that come see me, I've taught them what I call, how the hands set across the club. One lady in particular, I showed you how the hands match the club face, but not the way that they've been teaching you. So, it's a good one too. But the thing is this, and also something else too, that cross, or how I told the young lady how that club matches, what it does, it stops you from going inside. And, and when you put it on there properly, like I described to her, see, you can't go inside. And that's the one problem that most people get, because here's what happens. When you start feeling yourself rotating like this, trying to get through it, trying to make that happen, then eventually you're going to start doing it this way as well, because the body is just like that. But we want to get the body to feel like it's rocking, because the shoulders are rocking. And I know people use this concept, they saying that, hey, when the arms are rocking this way, then you got to make the body go that way. No, you do not. Matter of fact, that's the worst thing you can do. What you need to do to get it properly is that, especially females, you got two options, because we know the arms are just going back and forth like that. Now, here's the options that you have, and this also will work for men, but it definitely works well with females, because it's some of the females that I've helped, they actually can do this. Well, the one thing that you want to do is when you take that club back, feel the rocking of the scapula, both of them, feel them rocking back and forth. That's just a simple motion. What you want to feel is when you come down, because it's a scap down, how the body moves. All you're doing is you're taking this pelvis, because if you're leaning this way, you're taking this side of the pelvis and you're pushing it down. You're not pushing it around, because if you push it down, it'll come around. And most people are sitting here trying to get you to get your body to turn like that. Well, that takes too much timing. There was something back in the day when I was at Muirfield Village, and I used to caddy there, and I had met Jim Flick there, and I was talking to him about chipping, and I said something to him, and I think I might have been a little bit before my time, and I said something to the effects, this was like right there at the putting green, Uh, as soon as you come out, you know, they've redone the building, everything. And I said, because I've always been a good chipper, and I asked the question, I said, why do we want to come around when it's very easy just to go straight up and down when you're chipping? And, you know, and I won't go into that conversation that we had or whatever, but, you know, I think maybe I made him think of something in a sense, because it just doesn't make sense to me, because the true nature of when we're doing it properly, all we're doing is learning how to release the golf club. I talked about that in the video before. So for you ladies, when you're doing this, you know, when you're setting up here and you go, forget trying to do all of that. Let's make it simple. You know, I like to use the toe of the club. Paul Azinger said, you know, once you learn how to use the toe of the club, you know, you on your way to some great chipping. It's like I always feel like I'm just cutting the legs from underneath it. You know, when I'm hitting it, I'm just cutting the legs. That can go back to even the Harvey Pennick's old thing of clipping the tee from underneath the ball. See, you all, ladies, and it's natural for you, because of your hips, to want to come around. You got to restrict that. So either you make your hips like this trail hip, when scap up, scap down. When you make that trail hip go down, that's one way. And you also can make the lead hip go up. So you got two options. You can push the trail hip down, which automatically is going to make this one go up. You can do that one. Or if you like to be on it, you can make this lead one go up and the trail one go down. Because the beauty of it is, people, the pitching and chipping, you're using both arms. There's no question about that. But to tell the truth, you're only really chipping with one leg. And the reason, excuse me, the reason that you're chipping with one leg is because all you need in a golf swing is a shift. And if you all heard me talk about my feet, if I stand up here like this, I can shift from the outside of my foot to the inside of my foot. I can shift from the inside of my foot to the outside of my foot. So I don't have to do all going from here to here. You know, it's just too much. And anytime we walk, we're always going from the outside to the inside of our foot. That's how it goes, or inside to outside, one or the other. So ladies, once again, if you see it from the sideways here, when you take your club back, all you need to do is just push that down. Rotation will take care of itself. Don't sit here and try to do that, because you're not going to have control. I'm telling you, you're not going to have control because it's not set up like that. We want this club, especially with a wedge in his hand. Even Martin Hall had talked one time, and I thought this was really good, is that with a wedge, you want to feel like that club is going just straight up and down. And one of the things I talked about, you know, when you put that grip on there properly, like I showed this one young lady that came to see me, when you put that grip on there properly, then all of a sudden it makes that motion very, very simple. And another beautiful thing about it is this, is that when I do that, and I tell people all the time, this is one of my favorite, and I tell people when they look at me and they say, oh, you're putting the ball back in your stance. No, I'm not. All I'm doing, I got the same ball position that I may say have with an iron, because with my chipping, I do like to have a little descending blow. All I do is move my foot over, move my trail foot over, and now that ball, it looks like that, but it's never changed from where the bottom of the arc is. Because no matter what here, I haven't changed much of the relationship there. You know, so that's another thing that you got to learn how to do. And it's not all of this, people. It's not this. This right here, that's no consistency, because when you get under pressure, tell me how much you're going to be able to time. Will you know how far? And especially with women with bigger, their hips are wider and their pelvis is wider, they got to come more. So let's just make it easy. Use your hips to your advantage, young ladies. Use them to your advantage. Use your pelvis to your advantage. So once again, I'll go over it. You can go two different ways. You can take the trail hip, once you get the little scap up, you can take the trail hip and push it down. Or you could take the lead hip and pull it up. And that gets your hips to moving in this direction, even if it's something as simple as a little chip like this. You don't have time for all of that, because this right here requires too much timing This right here is no timing at all. That's why I said I can close my eyes and do it exactly the same. Hey, this is Charles Calhoun, aka the Shade Tree Pro. Ladies, I hope you get an understanding of that, because that is your advantage. Narrow shoulders, wider hips allow you to feel that good dip, baby, dip. And you can do it on the trail side or the lead side. Don't try to go from trail to lead and just do that. Do it with one leg or the other. Charles Calhoun, aka the Shade Tree Pro. You know how I do it, baby. Always good golfing.